Hi there. So we had some sad news over the weekend because 2 nights ago our matriarch Kayla passed away. We actually spent Saturday afternoon here in the barn and hung out with the horses, and they were all really chatty and excited to be hanging out and, you know, grooming and playing with us. And an hour later we walked outside and Kayla was on the ground in total dire straits due to colic. And so, of course, we gave her immediately medication, and I called the vet, and the vet showed up. Dr. Pertuzzi was here an hour and a half later because he had lots of colic cases that day. I think the weather change, you know, created a lot of issues with horses. And so we tried everything we could, but by 1:30 it was clear that there was no she wasn't getting better, she was getting worse, and we ended up letting her go. She was 27, which is a great age for a horse. However, it didn't feel right because she was so perfect an hour before, and to have to go to this, to make this decision was just horrible, of course. What was really powerful to see is that how much Kayla meant to this herd. She was such a quiet member, and most people that would come to retreats or do sessions with me wouldn't even really notice her for the most part. But she was always this quiet container that held the space for everybody. And though Cutter here is the herd leader, she was the one that was really the one that held the herd together. And so when she was feeling bad and she was out there, at one point I put Shana and Cutter in their stalls to get them out of the way. And Cutter was really restless in the stall. And a couple of times I kind of told him, like, stop it now, we need to focus on Kayla. And then I finally came to my mindful senses and saw it through his eyes. And I realized for him to be in the barn here while she was out there was really hard for him, because he wanted to be part of what she was going through. She's his charge. So I put a halter on him and walked him out and walked him over to her, asked him to be really gentle because she wasn't feeling well, and he went nose to nose with her while she was on the ground. And Kayla just kind of came out of her little, she was already so gone through sedation and everything, but she came out of it and just went, as she recognized his breath. And I was like, oh, this feels like we're really doing the right thing here. And then for the next 2.5 hours, Cutter just stood silently guarding over her, watching her, and being with her, which was really beautiful. When we realized it was time to let her go, I brought Shana out, and she did the same. She went nose to nose. And again, Kayla went, recognizing her, and it seemed like she was so glad to know that they were around while she was suffering. So David was holding both Shana and Cutter as Dr. Pertuzzi went, you know, for the final task. And so I was sitting with Kayla, and he was holding a stethoscope on, listening to the heartbeat and watching when it would stop. And both of these horses stood extremely still, so tuned in to the procedure. And then there was this moment where both of them were like, okay. And they were getting a little busy. And a split second later, Dr. Pertuzzi popped up and it's like, she's gone. So these guys were so tuned in, they knew exactly when she was gone. And that's, I think, what explains one thing, that if I took Kayla ever out of the pasture, this guy would go crazy. He would be like, where is she, where is she, why is she, where did she go, what's going on? But because they were so part of the procedure, knowing that she was gone, by the next day when the guy came to pick Kayla up, because we didn't bury her here, we had her taken to a cemetery, he never got stressed out. He was so part of the process. We actually at the end brought them over to the trailer again and let them sniff Kayla one more time. And they were very clear of what had happened. They went back into the pasture, the guy drove off, and both of these horses moved on. Now, granted, they're not the same, and he is still very solemn. He's very quiet. He's very, it feels to me like, and you can see the way he even carries himself right now. He's very much in need to be comforted. And I have been trying to do as much as I can. I did a oil balance this morning. You know, we try to hang out with them as much as we can, just to provide whatever comfort we can do. And here he passes gas. To me, that's a really good thing, because he's so relaxed right now that he can pass gas, and that hopefully will keep him from colicking or getting stressed out. But this is so important to support these animals when they have such a strong bond and they grieve now over the loss, for us to really be mindful and see it to their eyes, and whatever we can do. We'll never replace the other horse, of course, but we can be there and comfort them. And that's just the message I hope you will maybe remember, you know, if this ever happens to you, where one of your animals, you know, passes on and the other ones are affected by it. Really see it through their eyes and see what you can do for them to make this, you know, as easy on them as possible. All right, so to many more mindful connections, thanks for watching.